With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
The Monster Mile, a raging bull ring of concrete that chews up cars and spits them out. But surely there will be some who can survive the carnage of this frantic bowl. Let's see who makes it out alive as we get ready to watch round 9 of the PRL Truck Series, and you'll see it all live here on RaceSpotTV. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Dylan Cole. Here at the Monster Mile, Dylan, it should provide plenty of action out there. It's kind of hard to get away from other cars at a track like this.
Absolutely. This track is a roller coaster. The corners, it feels like going into a corner, you're kind of falling down into the earth and jumping back up on corner exit. Dover is my home track. I love this place. So exciting to be able to race here, the penultimate round of the PRL Truck Series schedule for Season 4. You take a look at what has come so far and what will come next week, or I should say 2 weeks from now, because this is that rarity with Thanksgiving necessitating a break between round 9 and 10. But Dover, and then 2 weeks from now, a super speedway pretty much in Atlanta to close out the season, the championship for the full year schedule. We get a look at the playoff standings right now, and oh boy, it's tight.
Exactly. Look at that 1 point between Dalton Geyer and Zach Panzarella, along with just 2 more points down to Matt Karakove. So that 4th spot to try and advance through to the last round at Atlanta is going to really be up for grabs here today. Easter Day in Austin kind of need a win, frankly, to get into this, or a horribly bad day for their rivals. Now, as for the point standing, Steve Loving currently is at the top of things by 32 points over Brett Adams. That's a pretty hefty distance with 2 rounds to go. All he really needs to do is stay out of trouble, which might be easier said than done at the end of the season with all these very, very fast tracks. Dallas Sullivan gained quite a few points, scoring a little bit better than Loving last time out, but is still about 34 points back. So he's going to have to do a lot more work. Meanwhile, of course, Dylan, we also have the team standings.
Yeah, the team standings are a little bit closer than I think some other team standings across PRL series have been, at least for that top spot. 44 points separates Team CPR with DDI Motorsports 44 ever. I just don't think that's a small enough gap, though, to close it by the time that the season is all said and done. Now, I will say, given that fact, with second and third being a pretty distant battle as well, we've got an awesome battle going on from third, fourth, and fifth, just a few points separating them. But we're getting a great look at Dover Motor Speedway. And, there's a lot of stuff. It's right in the middle of Dover, Delaware. It's a city. So, you go to your typical racetracks and you don't usually see all the city stuff, but I'll let you take away some of our partner appreciation, Joe.
Indeed, one of which is Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. And there's Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision 5 coupon code. And the Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. And of course, there's Moradness, which is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. And let's not forget Mr. Hedge Sim Racing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Of course, we have qualifying wrapped up and the drivers are all gridded and ready to go. So as we take a look at the starting grid on this one, Kevin McGarvey is up on top. Remember, he is trying to work his way forward on some of the late season stuff here, as Matthew Karakov will be starting from P2. Steve Loving, who leads the points, is going to begin from third, with Dalton Geyer to his outside. Blaine Adams will start in fifth, and then Brett Adams, appropriately, is going to be beside him. Zach Panzarella will begin from P7. Dallas Sullivan, who made up some inroads last time out, will have to climb a bit from 8th position. Garrett Austin will start 9th. And of course, the winner, Jake Maki, will begin from P10. Edward Peltz starts 11th, and Oliver Goff will round out your first 12.
We continue moving down that starting grid with Timothy Emmanuel starting in P13 and Tom Macy just alongside him. Stephen Kirby will be alongside Christopher Tapp, while Ryan Traver and Richard Pruitt, the first to not set a time, will be in 17th and 18th. Round out the top 20. We've got Rodrigo Morales in 19th and John Mankowski for the Whataback Racing Team in 20th. Matty Calvert, Robert Goff in 21st and 22nd, while Philip Beaver and Zachary Austin round out your first 12 rows and the only 12 rows, 24 trucks in the field.
Yep, nice, perfect number for our grid graphics, but it's only a single pace lap around here, even though it's a mile. That's about the limit for the single pace lap in iRacing. So they'll be released here, and it is a hot day with 108 Fahrenheit currently on the track surface itself. Prepare to slide around a bit as the base car is in. McGarvey has control of the field, and the green flag is out, heading down towards turn 1. Decent start for him. In fact, not even close to his outside. Karakov looks like he got caught napping a little bit. He'll have to deal with Steve Loving, already looking for second.
Already trying to make the move. The 00, though, has some speed coming down this backstretch. It's quick. These straightaways are so short at Dover, side by side for the race lead.
Nice move. I did not expect that. Just cut back down, and Karakov is now on the top spot. McGarvey slots back into second. Didn't even get to lead the first lap as Loving follows in behind. Thought he was going to be able to easily take that second place, but looks like he is not interested. You can see them sliding up off of that corner from that wall cam.
Oh man, Dover needs some more respect, I think, from NASCAR as a whole. Used to have 2 dates for pretty much every series. Now it only has 1 in the late spring, and I just love the challenge that this track provides. Concrete, so it's a little bit slippery compared to most tracks. And oh, look at that. Talk about slippery, coming loose off the corner.
Panzarella there in the 247 having trouble.
No,
we got a wreck. And that's going to bring out the caution. Looks like I see a Massey with some of the worst of it as he gets turned around, trying to see who else was involved. And I think that was the initial start. but I do believe that we saw a truck hit the inside. I was trying to figure out, I think that's Beaver maybe there, Dylan?
Yeah, I couldn't quite see who that was. We're watching on the screens we currently see, and you see that 27 of Steve Lovin currently running in third. So he's going to try and make some moves, make some positions once we get back to green flag racing here. But big hits in the back. I don't think anyone's going to come down into pit road, although it looked like he almost went over the entry line.
Yeah, you got to make sure not to go through that commitment cone and then back out, or else you're going to get a penalty. But a few of the drivers at the back who were involved in that wreck are taking a pit stop. Philip Beaver, as I mentioned, Tom Massey, and here we're going to see exactly what caused it to off of the corner. And unfortunately, one was not as far out as he could be. The other thought he maybe had a little bit more room, and I think that was a Massey that we saw just kind of get cut across.
Yeah, it's hard, right? This track, the wall comes out really quickly, but you had so much room that two could have been there, and goodness, it just kept coming down, and it almost looked like it was a personal attack on him. But it's a shame that that's potentially how some races end right there.
Just the nature of the beast. You can't win them all. And like I said, this place tears trucks up very quickly, as you can see the high speeds and almost, I mean, the walls are very close on either side. That's one of the things that always strikes me about this place, and I feel like it's made almost more compact feeling by the banking on the front and back stretch. It just almost feeds you into that bottom wall.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot more banked and a lot steeper than some people would recognize and realize. I mean, look how steep it is right there, right? You're looking to your left and you're pretty much looking down at the very, very small apron that is on the front stretch. This track is a challenge, and a lot of drivers do not have success if they don't have a specific driving and racing style here. You look back through the years of real-world competition, you see a driver like Jimmy Johnson, who was the master of controlling a car that was loose and on the edge. He succeeded here because of how hard it is to control a car or a truck coming out of the corners and just trying to get that acceleration, get the hammer down. It's not the easiest, but there are ways to make it work. We saw Matthew Karakov do just that.
Yeah, those transitions, I'm sure, really upset the trucks, and we'll probably see a few get loose, especially late in the stint. If we manage to get some green flag racing, we got a little bit out there, but we'll need something more for the rubber to start to wear away and see some changes in the handling of these vehicles. So keep your eyes peeled. This could get exciting, but if we keep getting cautions, it'll maybe become a bit of a slog instead, as the pace car is in. Karakov is the one that has control this time instead of McGarvey. Is he going to be able to pull the same thing off? It looks like he has a good jump, but McGarvey, will he try and reverse that move, take out that Uno card, and try and pull it right back on him?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do that, but way too far back, and you almost have to wonder if McGarvey's speed was maybe a one lap kind of thing, because he is under pressure. He's going to just have to calm it down and get it back going. He still has second, but he does come off that apex a little bit too, with a little bit too much tightness, a little bit too much understeer in that truck. He's definitely under threat from Blaine Adams. Look at these battles going on track. Love this place, man.
Sullivan and Maki that were racing side by side, but we're back to Blaine Adams towards the front, who is caught up to McGarvey. He's passed Steve Loving since we last looked. Remember, Loving was supposed to restart in third, but 33 has managed to overtake him quite quickly, as we're now starting to get some laps under our belt. As close as he was to McGarvey, he's fallen off a little bit. Maybe Kevin's finding his feet.
Trying to find his feet right now, and I think that's definitely what he needed. A few laps of running here just to kind of get a feel back for the truck. When you're under caution for as long as you may be, it's hard to remember exactly all that muscle memories. You see a block down low, cannot get the block to stick, and now we got side-by-side battling just behind the 14, just outside the top 10 between Peltz and Stephen Kirby.
Kirby on the underside, trying to see if he can complete the pass here. 7 goes nowhere and falls back into 12th position. Has to cut down low before Goff can get an opportunity to try and pass him as well. And go back to single file for the most part here farther down in the field.
Yeah, you see Oliver Goff trying to hold off some competition from in behind, but did not necessarily get the run. It's easy, though, to... if you don't have the best of runs, you're not going to get a move done down the straightaway. But that's why you see so many drivers just trying to kind of hold that bottom. Oh, look at that. Back down. The order getting really loose right there. I think that was the 17 machine of Christopher Tepp. It was in that Toyota Tundra.
He's at least got it still going, and I don't think he actually hit the wall. At least I'm not seeing damage on the inside of the truck. So looks like the 17 will carry on, but he's down to 20th after being in 17th, at least across the line last time through. So definitely saw a few gobbled away, and we'll have to try and get those right back. Still quite a bit of time left in this race. Good run behind him there from Pruitt, who's going to be able to go underneath down to 3 and 4. It looks like he might have this one.
Yeah, might have this one for sure. Pruitt gets it done easily. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say easily. I feel like every move at Dover, you got to put a little bit of work and a little bit of effort, more than you usually would at any other track, into it. It is like a roller coaster here. You know, it's a lot of people like to compare it to just a bigger Bristol, but it presents its different challenges, right? Because it's bigger, it's a little faster, and you've got to keep that speed and momentum, and the reflexes have to be up to par. For some of these drivers, such as Karakov, it's definitely up to par, and maybe a little bit of a birdie.
Certainly looks like he's got good speed here today, as you see. And take that 00 down to the line once again, right up against the wall for a few of those trucks in the background. Amazes me how close they're able to get, especially considering from my experience, almost every car loves to get loose coming off of 2 and 4. So trying to get as close as you dare can have disastrous results if things just get slightly out of hand.
Indeed, as we ride on board with Edward Peltz right now, currently running in 12th. Jake Mackey just in front. He lost the position to Stephen Kirby. That's a top 10 spot right there. So it's a battle for 10th as we're riding on board with the driver in 12th. We jump back to the 16 and the 85 just behind Oliver Goff and Matty Calvert. They're going side by side, and you see right up against the wall, you almost keep you want to have the truck keep turning left because you don't know how quickly that wall comes out of nowhere. And you see him come down a little bit again, and he gets the move done, gets single file, and he's on the attack.
Edward Peltz up next with Maki in front of him. You could see him try to kind of poke his nose, but couldn't get the overlap in time, so he'll stick behind, running a bit of a different line than the car in front of him. Peltz versus Maki for 11th right now, off of turn 4, still liking to keep that clear air running on the nose, while Maki has been riding high through the corners as well. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely riding high through the corners, which is a viable line here at Dover Motor Speedway. Sometimes you see some drivers diamond it, where they kind of hit 2 apexes in one. They drift up the track, and just because of how the banking works, they'll come back down. Oh, as you see, up against the wall. That's not how high you want to be. Sometimes drivers like to run that middle groove or even that high line. You see how that dark gray area that the rubber is laid down in? It's pretty wide, so there's a lot of room to maneuver here.
And another loose moment there for the 7 coming off of 2, as Peltz does manage to get low this time underneath Maki. He's going to be pinched down. Look at how slow he is off the turn. This opens the door, and here comes Calvert, who brushes the wall. He is charging through. He could get a 2 for 1.
Yeah, you might get a 2 for 1 right here, and behind some tight racing and some bobbling and weaving, having a jockey for that move way up the track. I don't think that's as high as he wants to be right there, but gets it out of the wall and out of the marbles as we see Brett Adams. Oh, this was a replay of a big moment.
No caution, though. No
caution. No one got turned around 90 degrees, but one driver from the Adams family maybe doing a little bit, not a bit of a disservice to what he wants to do, and another is running in a podium spot.
Yeah, he's going to need to get some of that repaired, no doubt, once we get to the pit stops. For now, with no caution, he has to just keep suffering around with it. That was Calvert did get that move done. In fact, Calvert is blasting through the field right now in the number 16. Checking to see, yeah, he was one of our drivers that was not allowed to qualify due to a penalty. So hence why we see him absolutely blitzing those in front of him, because he's got better speed. But Peltz there. And a little bit of a fight briefly with Robert Goff, who manages to make the pass there into 15th position, is in front of them, is side by side as we look a little bit ahead of them currently at Steve Loving continuing to drop backwards. What's going on with Loving?
I don't know. He's definitely struggling after trying to make a move for the lead, but this is a pretty quick fall from grace, as you see again, more jockeying down the front stretch, almost 3 wide here. But yeah, Loving is he's falling, and I wonder if it'll keep falling as Pruitt almost some contact right there with I believe Edward Peltz.
Precariously wobbling around there, and they make it off the corner safely, though. Pruitt up into 16th. Also, Emmanuel overtook Peltz, as you said. So that puts Timothy into 17th position. This has been a lot of action towards the back. We haven't seen a lot up at the front where it's kind of spread apart for much of the field. Although McGarvey is still ahead of Karakov after he took that position back. Matthew, who was leading early in the race, couldn't seem to keep it up. So we'll have to watch out to see if that changes consistently after our pit stops, and it switches back around again as farther down. As we said, lots of back and forth here between cars, including Loving continuing to just drop position after position.
Yeah, Loving is just struggling right now. There's got to be something wrong with his truck, or maybe it's in a setup. Maybe he's not feeling some of that feedback given in his sim rig that, you know, is so valuable. You can feel a lot in the truck, in the car. He's just, this is not something I'd expect to see, and I don't feel like it's tire saving at this point. He's losing positions so easily.
Yeah, I mean, if he's tire saving, then he's doing it to the extreme to where it's no longer useful, I would think, and he's going to lose another one to Jake Mackey now, who last week's winner moves up to 16th with that move. Oh man, a bunch of positions, even just down the straightaway. Almost like Loving is low on power, or something weird is happening. I hope we get a chance to find out from himself or a teammate what it is costing him.
Yeah, I hope to know as well. As we're just 5 minutes and some change from the halfway point. Now Blaine Adams is under attack and starting to lose some positions as he rides up the roller coaster tracks and loses some more again, but he's still battling right now with Stephen Kirby. Kirby on the inside drifts up just a bit, and he kind of forced Adams to have to take his foot off the throttle there. He's really struggling in that high line. He wants to get down low. He just can't do it. He's going to lose maybe another position. Zach Panzarella in 8th, trying to pass for 7th.
Had to get out of it. He almost hit the wall there, and with a big lift, the 33 now falls to 8th position. Track is continuing to heat up. Remember I said it was 109 during qualifying. It's 112 now in the race itself. It is very spicy hot out there. And maybe the few of the drivers that are dropping back isn't from tire saving. Maybe they did use their tires and they're toast.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility here. You got to remember, you're going around this track almost 3 times a minute. Not quite that fast, but still pretty quick. And the more you try to make moves here and the more aggressive you try to be, the quicker that fall off is really going to just kill you. And by the way, we missed a battle and a pass for the lead. Kevin McGarvey has made it by Matthew Karakov, and he's 8 tenths ahead for P1.
I had mentioned that a bit ago, and you're right that he's actually stretching away much more than I anticipated there. So nearly a full second ahead as we continue to watch Geyer and Panzarella fight for 6th position side by side. That is Kirby trying to run away from the pair of them. And off of turn 2, they manage to hold station as neither is willing to part at this point. Down on the bottom, that is Geyer. On the top side is Austin. And behind them, that's Panzarella, who's just kind of waiting his turn patiently. He doesn't want to take it 3 wide. You can see he's kind of poking his nose, but he knows he's got to just wait for the opportunity. He almost got into the 34.
He did. He definitely did. And the 34 of Garrett Alston had to just recollect that truck mid-corner. Once again, there's a drift up. Alston's giving him some more space, but at this point, I'd be a little annoyed if I was Garrett.
So, looks like the battle has been settled. It's Geyer, Austin, Panzarella in that order for 5th, 6th, and 7th. We're currently already on lap 36 of this race with about 23 minutes left to go. So, close to the halfway mark of this thing. I wonder at what point will we see pit stops, considering we've been going green since that first initial yellow.
Yeah, we have been going green for the last, give or take, 12 minutes of action. I love it, though. 36, I'd say more like 30 laps on these tires in this green flag run. So definitely some wear is starting to set in. You know, you can probably hit a mark of 85 laps on a tank of fuel. So if you can stay out until the end of this race or until a specific point, you will stay out if it stays green. There's no point in going until you run out of fuel, because you're just losing positions just for the heck of it, and you're not going to gain with the risk you take.
A little bit up ahead here, back to the 34 once again. Garrett Austin leading Panzarella. He's lost touch with Geyer. Still having to play defense, though, and it looks like they're going to have a friend soon. I think that's Marty Calvert in the red and black machine that you see getting ever closer. Yeah, they're in the 76. Or 16, rather.
Yeah, that's 16 of Calvert trying to get close into this battle. The more that Austin and Panzarella kind of mix it up, the quicker that Calvert, Mankowski, and company are able to catch up. Obviously, at this point, Calvert is in this battle only within a few car lengths, 2/10. I guess it would be truck lengths in this moment. The most annoying thing to have to go from PRL trucks and calling them trucks to them PRL Grand National and calling them cars.
We don't call them Grand Nationals?
I mean, Grand Natties. That's what we'll call them.
There you go. I wonder if we should... Well, no, maybe not. Here we go. Battle's on screen. I was going to say it was getting close for a second, but that's more important. That was a heck of a dive through.
Yeah, Panzarella wasn't waiting anymore for Garrett Austin. He wasn't playing nice, but he wasn't playing nice in the beginning either. So definitely trying to make those moves quickly and make them happen.
All right, so he's made that move happen. Dallas Sullivan was one I was talking about earlier. He's catching up to Matthew Carrico for second place. Had a little bit of a slide, so I think he lost some ground. This stays much tighter between these three here on your screen, but I'm just keeping half an eye over on that battle for P2, especially since we know that Carrico already lost the lead. There they are now as they fly down towards turn 1. Sullivan in the car behind in the red and white. The blue machine belongs to Carrickov.
Yeah, that works for Carrickov to just hold out this position a little bit longer. Dallas Sullivan, he's fast and he's running that low line. Carrickov is just trying to save the tires a little bit and run high, but Sullivan is obviously at this point the faster truck. So we'll see if he not only is able to really catch him, well, I should say that he just closed in so quickly. If he's able to pass him, that's a different story. I think it'll be a little bit easier than maybe at this point in the race would indicate.
Once again, two very different lines between them. And we have to remember, it's a woof and down to the bottom, getting loose. Matthew has to give that one up. There goes Dallas with the free pass he was kind of hoping for, I imagine.
Yeah, that's going to help Dallas Sullivan's trek to Kevin McGarvey. Once you have tires that aren't as warmed up, aren't as lit up, and you're able to just kind of go, that's always a great thing, you know. Sullivan was going to work hard to get by Carrickov, and now Carrickov is pitting. So look at that. Ooh. He's going to come into the pits now. He was just hemorrhaging those tires.
Okay, so the first blink, and not even just among the leaders, it's among everybody. The 00 is down on the lane and is going to see if he can maybe undercut those around them. Last time out, at Chicagoland and the Grand Nationals, it was the overcut that kind of worked out better than we expected for a number of drivers. So curious to see what it's going to look like with the trucks here at a track that looks like it is not only hot, but is definitely just eating tires up.
Yeah, that is absolutely going to be interesting. You said, what, 112 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, still at 112. Hasn't changed since I last said it. So, and that's on concrete, which is a lighter color. So you'd think it would not reflect, it would not be as hot.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day when the rubber is black and dark and it's taking in all that light even more. So the heat is definitely there, and it's not going away anytime soon. So these guys have to learn how to live with it, how to deal with it. Obviously, Karakov could not.
So where did he come out? He is only one lap down, interestingly. So he didn't lose 2 laps, and he is in 20th position. But I'll watch and pay attention to his lap times. This is 16, still fighting hard here. This is for the 5th position. He's able to overtake Panzarella or keep him behind. Not sure which was the case in this situation, but looks like the 247 is going to stick with it. And I heard somebody else announce that they're pitting in. That is Garrett Austin, it looks like.
All right, well, I guess they're all realizing that not only can they not make it on fuel, but they also know that at this point, tires are a premium. And if you can get fresh tires on, that means all the difference in the world. But my only concern is for the drivers who come in now, if it stays green till the end of this race, do they have to come in for a second time? Because, you know, this has been under green flag conditions.
That's the leader. That's the leader, McGarvey, who is now pitting in. So there are some real high rollers that are gambling on an early stop. Not something we usually see. And it looks like Dallas Sullivan is going to follow suit. The dominoes are falling. One driver made the call, and everyone figured they can't risk trying to let him run away.
Yeah, I kind of like the move. It's just, it's just a worrying sign for tires for the rest of this race. They've only been on these tires for what? I mean, under green flag conditions since we had that first caution, 17 minutes, 16 minutes. So they got to go again that same length. But I think the aggression levels are going to go up even higher now. Look at everyone coming down this 35-mile-per-hour pit road that feels like you're crawling when you're going down it, but in reality, it's still 35. You're going maybe as fast as a school zone as we see the battle between Pruitt and the 33 machine of Blaine Adams.
Your school zones goes 30?
Well,
mine are like 20.
Well, yeah, it should go 15, but once you go to Welcome, North Carolina, they're 35.
Dalton Geyer now pits in. There are a few stalwarts out there. Calvert, Mankowski, he's yet to pit. Pruitt pitted under the last caution, so he's got a little bit more wiggle room, I think, than all of his rivals. Emmanuel, a bit of the same. I see Massey, Peltz, and Loving that do still need to pit. Loving, though, actually is just coming in right now, I'm seeing. But Loving's been a bit of a miserable one. He's already gone a lap down, still unsure as to what has plagued his truck today that has put it so far off the pace. Maybe he smacked the wall somewhere and we didn't quite catch it. So will this work out for those that are hanging tough and try to give themselves some fresher tires towards the end? And Calvert's in.
Yeah, Calvert is in right now. So what is it? Just Pruitt and Timothy Emmanuel that have stayed out at the moment. I believe Tom and Macy in addition. So, well, it's definitely a move. I don't know if you'll get lucky if a caution came out at this point. You'll get really lucky, but even then, you're going to lose so much time by staying out for this extra bit longer than everybody else. So, yeah, the risk is high, but I guess the reward is also very high.
I mean, again, my mind goes to the Tebben strategy at Chicagoland. We criticized it. We thought this cannot be the right call. And yet he and a few others climbed their way back at the end. So back to Richard Pruitt, who's battling for, well, no, that's not the lead. That's being unlapped there that Blaine Adams is getting back by.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about when it comes to the overcut, the Tebben strategy, as we now shall call it, the Tebben strategy. I just don't think at Dover, with laps as quick as they are and how aggressive this heat is on the tires, that the overcut is really going to be the right move.
At this point, and the things we've seen, I'm just going to keep an open mind and let this race play out, because I'm not sure what's going to happen. Brett Adams, who is currently in 13th, still a lap down. Nobody has unlapped themselves that has pitted. Kevin McGarvey is the highest up, though, since he took that earliest stop and is up to 5th position, trying to chase down Tom and Massey. Actually, he's still a full lap down from Tom and Massey himself, I think. No, excuse me. Looks like he's 4 seconds behind. If I was going to say, if he's still a lap down from the next car up, then he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, that would be a brutal mishap in pit road. Probably would have been a penalty, but just look at the speed difference right there. Macy is just crawling on track. There's nothing that he can do. Look at that. That's almost a full corner ahead. So he is just losing time so quickly right now.
And Tom has just said that he's pitting in this time, so expect him down on the lane. Loving has pitted in and out, but he had a long stop. Wonder if he had a speeding penalty there, because at 45 seconds, that, or he was actually repairing the car in some form or fashion. So the risk factor continues to rise here, Dylan, because now we have a bunch of drivers on different tire strategies, some with newer tires, some with older tires that are out having to intermingle, and that raises the likelihood of a caution.
Yeah, that definitely will increase the likelihood, and that's exactly what Pruitt and Emmanuel are hoping, because if caution came out right now, they would be within the top 5 once they pit again. But look at this. This is a hornet's nest and very uncomfortable for drivers on worn tires and drivers not on worn tires. We got cars into the wall, trucks into the wall, I should say. And oh boy, this is some scary moments, some scary racing times. I mean, at this point, you've already made your bed. Just lay in it if you're Pruitt, if you're Emmanuel. As you see, look, moves down the inside. Aggression levels are high.
Robert Goff really wants to get that spot off of Pruitt. He gets the inside, but he can't carry the speed off the corner. Behind him, he's got Tepp looking down the inside. He backs out. Oliver Goff looks around the outside and goes for the 2-for-1. Carries the speed
work
beautifully. Almost contact between Pruitt and Robert Goff, but they'll get away with it. I'm kind of amazed that we haven't had a caution.
Oh, hold your breath, because we still may. Goodness me, the fact that they're going 3 wide with this huge mess, this hornet's nest, is unreal. Great driving from everybody involved.
Dalton Geyer going around them around the around the outside, yeah. And Pruitt gets loose. He's going to have to give up another spot. Panzarella getting his lap back, and that's, I think, what's complicating this, is there are drivers fighting for position, and there are drivers, into the wall goes Panzarella hard.
Yeah, that was a hard hit into the wall. You're racing so hard, you kind of forget how quickly that outside wall will come to your right side. You gotta just resist going on the throttle too early. As we see here's a dive down the bottom from Panzarella, trying to just continue moving throughout this lineup, throughout this order. I think there was a lapped car right there. So, another truck into the wall. I mean, everyone's hitting the wall at this point.
Both of them out of turn 4 there, it looks like. Just trying to hold things together. I think it may have been Pruitt a second time, potentially, as he once again drifts up very high. Underneath him, it's Macy there getting one of his laps back. Mankowski also going around the outside of Garrett Austin. That's 4th position. That's for 10th. And there is the caution. And it was Macy and Brett Adams, unfortunately.
Emmanuel, who was one of the drivers that were trying to stay out in hopes for a caution, went around, had some contact. Not sure exactly how that happened. Here's the replay. Emmanuel didn't do anything wrong there. Interesting.
Well, yeah, you're right. Just went into the corner. It almost looks like Brett clipped the apron on the way in, and I think that kind of shot him upwards. So I definitely put that one a little bit more on Brett, but it obviously nothing nothing too really unreasonable. He just kind of went low early, and maybe the apex was just a little too ambitious.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, this will help drivers like Pruitt, really only Pruitt, to get back onto a strategy with the leaders. I mean, it's not a huge win, but it is definitely a win. He's going to be starting within the top 11 here in this battle, and he'll also have, well, he'll definitely be starting in the top 11. He might even have a chance of starting up higher. Depends. Will everyone else on the lead lap come into the pits? It looks like the answer is emphatically yes. Pruitt, of course, in. And then McGarvey, Sullivan, Karakov does not. That's a race-losing decision right there.
I agree completely. I was looking at the lap times. You're looking at more than 1.5 seconds per lap difference between the end of the stint and the start of the stint. Now, he doesn't have that many on them, but it is 24 laps. That's enough that he is going to be suffering.
Well, the thing that he's going to hope for, and we've seen this happen a lot, there were a lot of drivers on that lead lap who did not come into the pits as well. Look at that. Emmanuel, who was just involved in that instant. Kirby, Geyer, Panzarella, Calvert, Minkowski, they see positions for the taking right now, but what they don't necessarily understand is McGarvey, Pruitt, Sullivan, and Austin. They're, of course, McGarvey leading a lot of laps. Sullivan, Austin, fast cars. Their trucks, they're going to have a ton of speed with the fresh tires. The only saving grace is the fact that there are so many drivers between Karakov down to Pruitt. There's 7 drivers in front who have not taken fresh tires that almost will act like a barrier for the drivers who have that speed. Nonetheless, though, it's just a curiosity-inducing kind of moment, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the balances. I think these are the lap trucks now taking their stops. Yes, it is. So that's Tep on in, along with Mankowski and a few others in there also taking service. So the balance here is, yeah, you're right. Pruitt has much fresher tires than everybody in front of them. Should have a lot better pace, but we've got a yellow. It's towards the end of the race. Desperation is now starting to set in. Cautions breed cautions. Will he have the green flag laps to actually use them?
I think the answer, I mean, it's yes. He'll have the time once we get back to green flag racing here. He just won't. They just won't have the time if there's another caution. If there's another caution, well, it depends when it happens. The drivers in front might have lucked out, but the speed difference is going to be immense. I don't know what the right strategy. If it stays green the rest of the way, I know what the right strategy is. It was taking tires, but if there is one caution, which there is bound to be something, then maybe taking the gamble to stay up in front was good. Now, Karakov, when we saw him not go into the pits, we were horrified, and for good reason as well, because everyone else we saw behind him going into the pits, but then we saw more drivers stay out. That barrier is definitely a helping hand.
Absolutely is. But I went and looked, and it looks like somewhere between 4 and 5 minutes for a caution. So I think, yes, if we get another yellow, that should end it here, because we still don't have the one to go signal. No, we do. Excuse me. Lights are off. They're just taking their time to get double file here. So we're going to be restarting essentially right on the cusp before they get going. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will be pretty much over the limit, and that's going to be the end of the race if we get the yellow, but it would kind of need to come out immediately. And we've seen stranger restarts where they get that one extra lap, so not discounting anything at this stage. And Karakov is going to be your leader on 26 lap old tires. First one to pit of that last sequence. So he's honestly got a double whammy on that one. Kirby has 7 lap fresher tires than him. Geyer has 8 lap fresher tires, 6 lap fresher tires on Panzarella, and 10 lap fresher tires on Calvert before you get back to Richard Pruitt, who had stopped under this yellow. How is this going to play out? Will we go green to the end as the pace car is in? Karakov looking for the green. And there it is. Green flag is out. He gets as big a jump as he can. He knows he has got a boogie.
Gotta make the moves quickly here. We go to green flag racing with just a handful of laps left in this one. When I say handful, I mean, hey, with the amount of time remaining in it, 4 minutes, that's a good 10 laps. Into the wall. Big hit. Oh, man. We're having a huge caution here. Pruitt, massive. Of course, that's right. I think that's Garrett Austin as well in the 34. This is exactly what Karakov wanted and ordered.
Wow. So the man that was his biggest threat immediately wrecks out. Just hit the wall, smacked it, and bounced across the bow of Garrett Austin. Brings out the yellow and may have just handed the checkered flag to Matthew Karakov. What we thought was his death knell might have ended up being his savior.
Yep. And that was the one thing that helped him, was that everyone else in behind came down, or did not come down except for 3 or 4 drivers to take tires. So that was definitely his saving grace. I don't think we'll have any more green flag laps in this one. There's still a chance, but I think it's a very small one.
Now, this will put him in rare air this season because it's been a very wide spread in wins. Only one driver's taken more than one, and that's Dallas Sullivan. And Matthew will be only the second driver to get more than a single win this season if this does end at this stage, which frankly I'm inclined to say that this is the end of the race, since we've still got a number of laps under yellow. We're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds from the end.
Yeah, we're not far away from seeing that ending point at all. If that's the way that this race ends, that's disappointing, but it's definitely another race that you just wish you saw more of stay green and maybe not have a clock in.
Those pit stops in the middle of the race under green wound up just as important. Matthew was the first driver to pit in that group. McGarvey, I believe, was the second one in, and he winds up in 6th. Granted, that was more down to him pitting in this last before this last yellow, or during the previous yellow, rather, I should say. And he became, because of Pruitt's wreck, the highest driver to have pitted. But that's going to be little consolation, knowing that if he had stayed out with Karakov, he would have probably had a second place.
Yeah, that's it's quite unfortunate. Especially for a driver like Pruitt, who was waiting as long as he could to get that caution. He got that caution and just completely ruined it by pitting, but he had to pit, right? He absolutely had to pit. He was the only driver who, if he didn't pit, that could have been race over. Are we getting... No, we're not getting one to go. So I think we get one to go next time by. But yeah, that's race over.
It is indeed. There's not enough time for them to get that one to go, to have that extra lap, as we were talking about. So we're probably either going to see the checkers this time by, or we'll see the white flag at the very least, and they will be sent home after that. 45 seconds on the clock. The Monster Mile definitely gobbled up a few cars, but it was not able to capture Karakov. Dalton Geyer, who gets himself an excellent second place, and then Stephen Kirby as well, managing to survive all the craziness. Especially, I'm pretty sure he was well far down. In fact, Stephen Kirby started from 15th in this race, so he definitely made up a few spots with 12 gained to get himself a potential podium here as the clock ticks down towards 0. Which one are we going to get? Is this going to be the white flag to the checkers, or white flag to a full lap? There's the final lap marker. And as they cross the line, yep, we're going to get one more time around. I know it's frustrating. Timed oval races are such a strange beast, but I mean, they've been doing that in this series for quite some time. They know the risks of it, and sometimes this is just how things happen, and you've got to accept it. Garrett Austin, Richard Pruitt involved that wreck, by the way, Dylan. Still 16th and 17th because of all the laps lost by some of the other cars involved in wrecks.
Yeah, and it's quite wild, right? You could have just ridden around some laps, even with a destroyed car or destroyed truck, and made up some positions fairly easily. And some of these drivers are going to use this week as a drop week. It's the last time that they can use any week as a drop week. So next time we get back to racing in 2 weeks for the PRL trucks, it's all going to be for the marbles there.
Now, the pace car is pulling in, but they will stay single file. There will not be a restart, with this being the checkered flag. And Matthew Karakov is very happy about that, as he takes win number 2 of season 4 in the 00 truck here at the Monster Mile. Now he gets to celebrate his victory as the Team CPR machine picks up pace a little bit to go and enjoy the spoils of his win. A little bit of almost a nudge into the side of Geyer by Panzarella there for a brief moment behind Tim. In fact, for a second I'm showing Panzarella in third, but I'm pretty sure that is not correct, because I thought we saw a different car behind him before. That was
should be I think
yeah, I think our timing and scoring has gotten a little goofed, unfortunately, because of the yellow. Well, he's going to burn it down. So apologies, as the results are going to look a little bit weird here. And even though the official iRacing results are showing Panzarella in third, so this is all unofficial as we go through this. Kirby is your winner. Nope, that is definitely not correct. Marty Calvert scored his second. Panzarella third, and Kevin McGarvey is fourth, Dallas Sullivan fifth. Yeah, we might as well just disregard these.
It's whatever.
Okay, then. I thought it was just a couple drivers, but it's basically everyone. So ignore these. We'll try and get you something more official a little bit later on. But wow, this sets up a wild one when we get to Atlanta for the last round, with some of the shuffling that we might see. And in fact, it looks like we have a chance to talk to Matthew Karakov, our winner in the 00. Why don't we have a quick chat with him and see how he feels about how this race went from his perspective. Matt, congratulations, second driver of the season to take more than one win here in the season. But it took a bit of an unorthodox call. I have to admit, both Dylan and I highly doubted you deciding to stay out. We thought there's no way you're going to be able to keep the spots. And, well, lo and behold, the yellow came back out.
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, cool. No, I doubted myself. Actually, I messed up. They were so far behind me that I actually wanted to pit, and I didn't. I was kind of cussing on my team radio.
Interesting. Well, it all worked out in the end. At what point did you realize that this actually wasn't the worst thing in the world?
I think it was when I got into third gear. I got a good start, and I almost spun it, hung it right. But once I got a hold of it, I saw I had about 5 car lengths, and I knew if I could do 3, 4, 5 good laps, it would at least put me close to being in the championship if I lost a couple positions. So that caution was unfortunate for everybody behind me that was trying to get in. Zach Panzarella, he's a really good guy, and he didn't make it, but I wouldn't have been sad if he would have.
Well, we kind of expected this be a place to cause some torn up machinery, and there were definitely some cautions that looked like they had some hefty hits. Are you proud that you managed to come home with a clean truck?
Oh yeah, I mean, that was the number one thing here, was just try to get out front and get away from everybody. But yeah, I think my lucky stars it turned out this way, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, it looked like a lot of fun regardless, and I'm sure it's even more fun getting to celebrate in Victory Lane. Congratulations and enjoy the spoils. Thank you.
I wanted to thank Team CPR. Hayden, he kind of had a mishap at the beginning of the year, but he's been helping out. And Steve Loving, Tom Amasi, the team's been awesome, Team CPR. And thank you to Skyline Roofing for the sponsorship. It's been a fun year. And thank y'all, because y'all really are what's the best about this league. Y'all do a really good job.
Well, thank you very much. That was Matthew Karakov, our winner here today. And it sounds like second place has been caught up by Dylan Coyle as he's going to be talking to Dalton Geyer.
Yeah, Dalton Geyer standing alongside me. And Dalton, you came into this race fourth in the playoff standings, although it was kind of a third based on Alan Dice's and the rest of the season, I guess, disqualification, you can say that. So it was a tight battle, though, between you, Karakov, and Panzarella, a few points separating you. And yeah, you didn't get the win, and Karakov won, but you finished second. And I think unofficially you're into the championship 4. If that's the case, how are you feeling about your chances?
Well, it's Atlanta. It's new Atlanta, so anything can happen there. Probably kind of gonna need anything to happen. But yeah, just crazy stuff this week. We kind of need a lot to go right, and right for us and wrong for other people to even be in the position for both me and Zach to make it. But yeah, Matthew, I can't be mad at that. Matthew went out and he took it,
Absolutely. Took that one. And was that playing, in the back of your head thinking, oh, I might need to win this race? That's why you didn't come into the pits, that final caution or second to last caution?
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of partly it. And then also we kind of knew, both me and Zach knew we had the tire advantage. I think he came in a little bit earlier than us. So I figured if it went to the end, we might have been able to get him. But although I do know a few guys did come in for tires, and so they might have been a factor. It could have been crazy. So
for sure. Of course, for DDI Motorsports 44 Ever, your team coming in second. I'm sure it helps out quite a bit being able to potentially cut that gap down.
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of been a focus for us. The team stand. I think we're in second in like the overall standings too. A lot of kind of things to focus on with the yearly standings and the season to season standings. I don't know how you guys do it, but yeah. So we just kind of try to take the focus on the good things that we have going and not focus on the bad.
Well, Dalton, congratulations on the second place finish. And hey, if officially you're in the playoffs or the championship board, best of luck in 2 weeks' time.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you to my teammates, Zach, Dylan Schmidt, CM Pennington, always with us, always giving support. We love you, and going championship racing.
All right, Dalton Geyer, everybody, second place finisher in this race. Joe, I believe you're going to be able to stand alongside the third place finisher in this race, and that third place finisher would be Stephen Kirby. Yeah, let's get him in.
Absolutely ready to talk to Stephen about this one, especially considering, Stephen, you started from 15th. That was a lot of positions gained.
Yeah, I kind of let that one get away. I messed up pretty bad in qualifying and spun it out on my hot lap there, but that's all right. And, got some work to do on getting on and off pit road. I think I lost some time there, but all in all, good night.
Well, I think you're going to be excused for a spin. The track temperature swayed between 107 Fahrenheit up to, I think, 112 was the hottest we saw it. How did it feel in the truck trying to deal with that?
Actually, during the race wasn't bad at all. Really just saved the tires early on and made up a lot of ground there on that long. Luckily, we had a long green flag, so that was nice. But during qualifying, when you're trying to push the envelope, it was pretty slick. And obviously, as I spun out, but like I said, it's all good. Third place, I'll take it from coming that far back.
Well, next time out, we're going to what now is effectively a super speedway heading to Atlanta. Considering our experiences at iRacing super speedway, is that something you're excited for, or you're kind of viewing with trepidation?
Yeah, no, can't say that I'm excited for it. I will probably just kind of hang back unless I'm up front, can stay up there. But that was a little tougher. It's narrow, so can't really hang back too far and make big runs at the end. We'll see. I don't want to mess anybody up in the championship, so be very aware of that as well.
Well, congratulations. Great strategy call has netted you a podium. Go and enjoy yourself.
Thank you. And thank you guys for doing such a great broadcast. I really appreciate RaceSpot. They do a great job.
Cool. Thank you very much. Kind words from Stephen Kirby in the number 109 this evening, who managed to bring himself home a third place. Well, we aren't going to change gears, Dylan, because we're going to stay here in Dover for the Grand National cars, which are going to be starting up very shortly. And after what we saw in the trucks, do you think it's going to be more of the same?
Well, I think potentially. I think that, what we're going to see here from the Grand National Series is maybe a little bit of more of a struggle to keep the cars on track. But typically the car counts have been less so in PRL Grand National. Let's look at the schedule here and you see where we've gone. That has led us to Dover Motor Speedway. Also will be a 2-week break from now to Auto Club, of course, for PRL Wednesday night series of the trucks and the Grand Nationals, the Grand Natties. I'm going to make that stick. What do you think?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, I like that. I like it.
Yeah, sounds like a good nickname to me. And yeah, Auto Club to finish it up. Another high speed circuit, but very different compared to what we saw before with the Atlanta being a lot steeper. But regardless, we also have a playoffs in this one. Very different story. 31 points in there. Adam Zemke, Cervantes, Lowendick, Knights all basically have to go all out and try and get a win here tonight. Based on what we've seen from Teddy Lowendick, who's getting very close to his first oval win, he could maybe do that here, but Cervantes is good, quick on a good day. Zemke can be as well. Daniel Knight definitely has taken a number of wins, so don't count any of them out. I think there's still possibilities, but it's going to take some Hail Marys to try and do it. Of course, we have the season standings for this series as well. Richard Regan Jr. currently up at the front on this one, stretching just that little bit farther away from Abner Acosta after last week, up to 29 points difference between themselves. And Tyler Justice, who managed to take the win, is unfortunately just kind of watching from the outside. Look at that, 56 points back. He needs to really get himself within touch because unfortunately next week's going to be, well, next round's going to be the last round. So if he's not at least within 51 points, then that's it. Season is over and he can't do much else. We have a team's championship in this series too. Let's go through that one here, Dylan.
Yeah, and this is a bit closer than we saw from the PRL Truck Teams Championship, at least for the top spot, with Regenboog Motorsports only 26 points ahead of Whataback Racing Overdrive, and that could be an interesting battle for the remainder of the season. And by that, I mean the next 2 races. But also a good battle for third, just like the last time around, but more players involved here. Pretty much anyone from 3rd through 6th could potentially break into that podium position. But yeah, a lot of fun to be had, I think, in the Grand National Series as we reach the end here. But it is qualifying time, and you want to hear some drivers who weren't allowed to qualify? I'd love to tell you. It's going to be Nick McLaughlin as well as RaceSpotTV. That stems from Phoenix in round 7, and Daniel Knight, that stems from last round, Chicagoland Speedway. Right now, only 15 drivers setting any lap times. I'll make that 17.
Wow. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people with a tough time from the back of the field. Bradley Hawley now puts one in, so 19 cars up. Hawley up to 7th. Abner Acosta as the provisional pole position with a 23.296. Can anybody touch that as we watch Patrick Cowgill, who has just finished his second lap, 23.5, only good enough for 14th for him. Lowendick, who's been a bit of a master recently at qualifying. Only 6 today for him, so no heroics from him as Adam Zemke sets his first lap 23.7. Oh, that is way down there. He is only 20th currently.
Yeah, only 20th for Zemke. Not going to work for him. Everybody outside of the top 4 in this playoff picture, that's Zemke, Cervantes, Lowendick, and Knight, they need to win. There's no question. This is a must-win situation for them because Abner Acosta, Richard Regan Jr., Bradley Holly, and Jeff Evans are sitting quite nice right now with Bradley Holly into the championship for courtesy of his win just a couple weeks ago in round 7.
Zemke only up to 18th on that second lap. Holly was only up to 8th. Some real surprises out here. I believe Mark Kalin botched his second lap because it looked like it was deleted. Westerfield's first flying time, good enough for 23.6, but that's last of everybody who set a time, as 21 drivers have officially gotten one on the board. He's going to have to hope that this second lap is much quicker. It's a cooler track than what we saw before at only 94 Fahrenheit. Hopefully that will see some better times, but not enough time for Westerfield, who runs out of qualifying and did not get his second lap counted. Whoops. Abner Acosta is going to be on the pole because of that, ahead of Dustin Scruggs, who will be starting to his outside. Jeff Evans will begin from P3, and Danny Cervantes, great position for him here, trying to get himself into the final 4 for the last round, starting from 4th today. Thomas Sink will be 5th, and Teddy Lowendick in the 6th position. Richard Regan Jr. starts in P7, next to his old rival, Bradley Holly, to his outside. Mark Kalin starts in 9th, and Nick Silver rounds out your first 10 drivers as Colton Lane starts in 11th, and James Morgan will begin from 12th.
Dominic Beijing is starting in 13th with Jacob Emery alongside in row 7. Patrick Cowgill for Whataback Front Row Racing in 15th, while Nick Beyer will start in 16th. Doug Evans, Adam Zemke, 18th for Zemke, not what he needs at all. While Nicholas Hunter in 19th, and John Jones starting in the top 20. Jim Westerfield will be the last one to set a time in qualifying with Daniel Knight, Joey Tebben, Reese Bogue, of course, Knight and Bogue were not allowed to qualify, and Nick McLaughlin in 25th was also not allowed to qualify. You know what is funny though? Joey Tebben out of the prison sentence he was in.
The irony of it all, he's going to have to start from the back anyways, because he messed up both of his laps. So he's going to have to try and push hard here as the drivers get ready to take off now from pit lane, being led by that pace car. Remember, 1 pace lap, and then they're on their way. So we saw 3 caution laps last time. Here is our driver wall of competitors here this evening. Now, the bottom 2 on your left-hand side are the same guy. That is Holly, who gives us 2 different angles being sent in. Yeah, it's really cool how he's... for one, he's got the bandwidth. I'm jealous of him having enough internet to send that to us.
It's just a Star Wars kind of streaming setup, both here for Holly, and I think we saw a few other Star Wars Lego sets and figurines scattered around the in-car cameras that we've got. But under the crossover bridge, and hey, guess what bridge we're going under now? The best seat in sports, the Ally Monster Bridge. You ever been there?
I have not. I've never been to Delaware, actually.
Ooh, well, that's fair. It's Delaware.
I mean, I'd love to go. I'm not putting it down. I'd love to go, but I'd never been out to that area. Only a couple times I've been kind of over on the East Coast. But I think these drivers right now aren't worried about the coast. They're worried about how fast can they go around this really swift 1-mile oval. And Abner Acosta is going to try to be the fastest among them as he takes them to the green flag here for the Grand National Series in the penultimate round. Pretty good start for him, but not nearly as big of a jump as we saw in the trucks. As Scruggs going to hold on around the outside. He has an opening down low if he wants to cut in front of Jeff Evans, and that he will do.
Yeah, really good move for the 11 machine of Dustin Scruggs. Remember, it's just about will these tires be able to last when you push it so hard at the beginning? We'll have to see that as Lowendick up high. You see a car kind of hugging that wall right there, and that's low and dick, and that's not what he wants.
They come off of 2 now, still a little bit of side-by-side racing here in the mid-pack. As looks like that is Sink and Kalen trying to sort out 6th position right now. Kalen's going to come out ahead on that one in that number 62. Almost brushes the wall, though, as he exits off the corner. We're going to be seeing that all night long, as we realized from our time watching the trucks. Single file now for most of the pack.
Yeah, single file, and this will be a little bit more single file than that Truck Series race was. That's not to say we won't see a lot of passing or moves or attempts to be made. It's just these cars are so loose as is, and combine that with Dover and high heats at concrete and just the way this track races, you're in for a treat as a viewer.
Look at the 25 there, Cervantes. He's got Richard Regan Jr. climbing all over him. In fact, he's going to decide he wants to pass. 25 doesn't fight it. Not only does he let one car through, here goes Kalen trying to take advantage, but can't carry the speed off of 4.
Yeah, and they're side by side. Now Cervantes needs to win this race, and he's not going to win by getting past. Maybe he's conserving a little bit. That could work in his favor.
Could absolutely. And he is going to get up into P5 now, keeping up with Richard Regan Jr. Definitely a driver I would want to keep tabs on with how much speed he usually shows, as they once again plunge down into turn 1. Still being led by Abner Acosta up at the front of the field. Haven't missed anything up there. It's been rather quiet, but certainly a few that are trying to do their best to get track position. Remember, Kalen was one of those that had one of his laps deleted. So as we take a look at his onboard here, that was the other Star Wars person you were talking about before. Kalen has have managed to make up 4 already in the first 7 laps.
Yeah, he is doing a good job right here, but he's definitely abusing those tires. I don't know if he'll have the longevity that he's desiring and wanting to have. But hey, he's hoping for some cautions to come out at opportune times, as most of the drivers in this field are or aren't hoping for. You know, cautions are always the great equalizer in racing, especially in oval racing. But cautions at the wrong time can be the death blow, as we see some side-by-side action right here. Of course, the 184 Bradley Holly into the championship 4, but when it comes to his hopes in the season 4 drivers standings, of course, he's a fair distance back. Holly had missed one race earlier in the year, used it as his drop week, and his results haven't all been up to snuff as we usually see from the winningest driver in PRL NASCAR competition. But hey, guess what? It really doesn't matter at all when you're in the championship 4 as well for year-long performance. So he's got a big shot next week to win it all here, and I think he'll just ride out and try to have fun tonight.
Yeah, he can collect his tears in the mini trophies he's won. So,
right.
Dustin Scruggs up at the front. I wonder if we might want to jump back to that 11, because look at this. Abner Acosta had put some distance between himself and the 11 car, and suddenly Dustin has come alive here now that we're in after the first 10 laps of the race. We've been green since the start, knock on wood, and it's starting to come back to Dustin.
Yeah, definitely starting to come back to him. Acosta, I almost wonder if Abner's now starting to save a little bit, or it's that he's feeling the tires go out from under him. But if that were the case, I would have expected Dustin to fall back into the grips of Evans, Regan Jr., Kalen as well. I think it's more a matter of Acosta knowing he doesn't have to push as hard as he was pushing, and just kind of chilling back. He can hold up Scruggs for a bit, and if Scruggs gets by, we'll be able to claw him back down.
He's right on top of him now. He's got less than a car length between himself and the 5, and has been kind of sitting there hovering, trying to get in the head of Abner Acosta, but so far has not been able to shake him loose. They are running away from those behind, about a second and a half ahead of Evans currently. You can see the gap with these longer angles at times, just can't even get them in the screen. There they are, finally popping back in as they come onto the main straight. With such short laps, you start to lose that distance. It is bad news.
For sure. You lose that distance quickly. It's only a mile in length here, and the laps happen so quickly. it really feels like you're riding on a roller coaster that you don't have much of a say in. You want this car to feel like it's on rails, but look at that. The rails, sometimes you go off track. You saw in the background, a car went up and hit the wall. I think that was Kalen in the 62. Everyone is running pretty closely in this battle for third right now. I think it's gonna break free for everyone in a few laps time.
And still have all 25 drivers running. Everybody's still on the lead lap, not even close to being lapped as well. So this might be a case of just sit and wait, tick off the laps, and let the race come to you for a number of these competitors. As Richard Regan Jr., now that he's passed Jeff Evans, sets his sights towards the front. He's not sitting around. He's using up his stuff as quickly as he can, just trying to get that track position back, since it looks like it will go green for a little bit here. As Kalen also talking about his charge, he's trying to follow Richard Regan, not quite as successfully, but is definitely been making some good moves here as he takes a look underneath the 51 of Jeff, but no dice yet.
Yeah, he's trying to make a move underneath of Jeff Evans, who is also sitting pretty nicely in this championship for battle right now. So, you know, it's interesting, right? How these drivers decide to prioritize their in-season battles. Some of them are just fighting for pride at this point, where they will finish in the order. Evans is running in fourth in the overall season standings, within 4 points of Tyler Justice for third. So if you can finish in a podium position in the championship standings, I think that is a huge win. And I don't know if you noticed, but it looks like Silver right now is running back in eighth. So that's definitely an even closer battle at this point.
Yeah, Silver and Holly both, I think, need to push forward a little bit as we take a look at Kalen, who maybe is no longer moving forward, but backwards. There goes Danny Cervantes underneath him. 62 doesn't fight that one. Almost, it does look to me like the 62 is doing a lot of sliding, that the rear of the car looks a little free.
Yeah, it looks free for sure. And, you know, you mentioned earlier in this truck race here that it was pretty hot. What's the temperature looking like right now of on track?
It was 94 degrees at the start. It's up to 99 now. Not as hot, but definitely trending towards getting a little bit more slippery as the time goes on. From what I understand, this does pick up the heat rather fast, this concrete, as the cars continue to pound around and lay that rubber down. So if they keep staying green, it's probably going to just worsen conditions, as once again we look a little bit farther back here into some of the packs, plugging away with the 24 leading Bradley Holly for 8th position.
Yeah, 99 degrees is still a really hot temperature, especially with how these cars handle. As you see, Kalen's definitely fallen back into the clutches of everyone in behind him, but it's also stacking up drivers like Sink and Silver. They're kind of getting caught right now. Bradley Holly running in 9th. They're all just there to watch what happens to Kalen, who, remember, he was really flying in the early few minutes of this race, and it was costing him time later on. Right now, it's costing him that time, and we're starting to see it really play out in that case. We're a good way into it, 24 laps completed. So with that being said, 24 laps, 24 miles, with how just, you know, intense the G-forces are on these tires, how hot it is, you're definitely going to start to feel it now.
Yeah, we come back up to the front. Scruggs is not given way, but Richard Regan Jr. the last couple laps, 24-6, 24-6, 24-7. Scruggs, 24-8, 24-7, 24-8. He is pulling him in, and he's still got the speed. He's been running as hard as Mark Kalen, but has managed those tires just a little bit better. Something that the 56 has figured out is that touch of magic that the other drivers don't quite have today.
Yeah, just has that slight touch of magic right now. But as Acosta holds off Scruggs, you see who's flying and came into the picture with a lot of speed. His name is Richard Regan Jr. in the 56 machine, and Regan Jr., who is currently leading the points standing over Abner Acosta by a fairly healthy margin at this point, 29 points. That's I mean, you go into the final race with a 29-point margin, it's almost a guarantee that you're winning the championship here. So I think Abner is doing everything he can to try and not let that happen, including leading right now the most laps and, of course, starting up high as he did. So he's definitely doing well in the bonus point category, but I don't know. I feel like Regan Jr.'s got a lot more life left in those tires.
Certainly driving like it. He's been pulling them in so quickly, and now he is officially there. As you see, he's approached Dustin Scruggs, who maybe will have to do a little bit more defense and less offense now at this stage if he wants to hold on to that P2. No, he's not going to do any at all. He pulls off to the side. Regan is now up into second place.
Yeah, Regan has definitely made that move look fairly easy right there. Scruggs starting to fall off just a little bit, and I suspect that everyone else in behind is going to get a little bit more racy. You see it right there. Kalen kind of got shuffled up, and this is where he's going to lose a ton of positions unless he's able to get back down to the bottom. Holly in this Hornet's Nest follows the Bowie Esports machine down the bottom. Kalen on the outside. It's Star Wars, a Star Wars battle as can be, and got the X-Wing fighter on the inside and maybe a TIE fighter on the outside. Who's going to win this battle? I think it's going to be the X-Wing fighter as per usual.
Yeah, look at that. Holly is easily passed. So Sink, Silver, Holly, and is that Lowendick? It looks like, yep, he is going to make it by him up into 9th position. So in essentially 2 or 3 laps there, that was 4 spots that Kalen had to wave goodbye to and is now fallen into 10th. How far down will it go before he finally gets yellow, or we see someone decide to pit in? We're a long ways away, though, from that pitting call if we do stay green.
Yeah, we're trying to see if there's some pit stops to be made. Lap 32, you can go another 50 plus at least laps on a full tank of fuel, but I think once we hit that 25-minute mark, you're going to start to see pit stops happening.
A little side-by-side racing farther down between the 12 of Morgan and Cowgill's number 31. Cowgill on the outside here, hanging tough, not willing to give way immediately. And we've seen that pinching cars down sometimes has a pretty good effect. In fact, yeah, 12 can't finish it up, even though he's got the shorter run off of 2 as they head into 3 and 4. He is now clear, though, and the pass is done. So Cowgill falls to 13th.
Yeah, Cowgill is falling some more spots right now. James Morgan is starting to move through the field. We've seen Morgan with some speed at races this year, but sitting outside the top 10 right now and has a second and a half of clean track in front of him before he's able to catch up to the 60 of Colton Lane. Let's see if he can do it.
I was looking through to see who our hard chargers were. Daniel Knight and Reese Bogue, both, I think, were unable to qualify. And looks like they have picked up a ton of spots, 8 and 9 each right now. They're sitting in 14th and 15th position. So there's your drivers that are making good on the pace in spite of not having the track position, but they're still mid-pack. And in fact, they're close to a third of a lap behind the leaders already, having started so far behind and maybe had to save their stuff as they waited for things to thin out before they could start charging forward. 12 still ahead of Cowgill here. Thought maybe he would scamper away a little quicker, but Patrick's keeping him within range.
Yeah, Patrick is definitely doing that, but I think at this point you see Lane starting to kind of fall into the clutches of Morgan. It was a second and a half. Now it's 1.2 seconds in just a lap and a half's time. So I think that'll continue coming down, but we ride with the 24 of Nick Silver trying to chase the 48 of Thomas Sinke. The 24 and the 48 battling. What's new?
Exactly. And The 24 is the one that has to make the overtake at this stage. You can see him in the orange and yellow, just behind Thomas Sink in the orange and black. 48 machine off of turn 2, all of them drifting up as close to the wall as they dare before it dives back into 3 once again. 24 looking a little bit tighter at the bottom on entry than Cervantes, or excuse me, than Sink. And Silver gonna have to try and see if he could do something a little bit different to make up for that, as they once again just keep charging on forward. They are being caught up, it looks like, by Holly and Lowendick. I know they were relatively close to them before, but they do have to watch out, especially for someone like Bradley Holly. If he's got more pace underneath him and he's been saving himself a little bit, then it'll be hard to hold down.
For sure, and he'll definitely be hard to hold down. I just think at this point with Acosta running 7/10 now quicker ahead of Richard Regan Jr., I think it's pretty surprising to me if we talk about that quick battle with Regan and Acosta. I didn't think that Acosta had it in the tires, but hey, kudos to him for saving when he did need to save, because Scruggs is about to fall into the clutches of Jeff Evans as there's a look down the inside by Silver on Thomas Sink. I think at this point, Evans and Silver would be tied for that last race to see who would be in third.
Yeah, consistently I'm seeing Silver. Yeah, look at him turn in a little bit sooner. I wonder if the dirty air in these cars is a little bit affecting, because we have to remember they're sending it into these corners at about 165 miles an hour. So maybe he needs a little bit of that downforce to help it stick.
Yeah, maybe that extra downforce will definitely help. The quicker you go, the more the air will come towards your car, and the more it'll push it down towards the ground. So a lot of these cars through these fast corners relying on some aero dependencies to get through the corners as quickly as possible. Of course, it's not just aero grip, it's also mechanical grip.
So you may have noticed that Scruggs has been dumped down to 5th position. Both Evans and Cervantes went by when he had a huge slide coming out of turn 2. And he managed to keep it out of the wall, but boy, did he lose a lot of time. And as I said, 2 positions in the process. Dustin at least is still racing, but maybe he's another one that's starting to feel the effects of abusing the rubber underneath him more than he anticipated. Because I'll be honest, I didn't think we'd be going this long. We're almost the first 20 minutes in without a single yellow.
Yeah, it's been pretty good, and I think it's 6-7 laps time. You're going to start to see these drivers head into the pits. Here's Dustin Scruggs, I believe, a replay of what happened as he's going around 3-4.
Yeah, that was the onboard. Let's see. Nope, we've come back live, excuse me. So we've jumped behind him to Silver once again. Yeah, look at how much closer Holly is now. He's pulling him in. He's sizing him up. That's going to be bad news for Nick. He's been so focused forward. Has he noticed that behind him, he's got a multi-time champion starting to fill the mirrors?
Yep. Lots of energy in behind this battle with Sink. It's a 4-way fight, and they've been together for a very long time. And even behind these drivers, there's a 3-way battle between Kalen, Lane, and Morgan. So a lot of battles on track. It's just hard to make passes here.
Got to give credit to Kalen. I mean, it seemed like maybe he was going to start losing a bunch of spots, but he stopped it at 10th and hasn't been passed by Lane and Morgan since then. And instead, it's kind of been down to these 4 to try and settle out positions in front of him, although they haven't changed since they overtook the 62 either. But it's been awful tight. Any little mistake from one of them is probably going to give up 1 or more spots here as we get closer to the halfway mark in this race. Not anticipating drivers to pit at that halfway unless we do get a yellow in there somewhere. But this has been a real slog out on this somewhat warm track, still at 99 Fahrenheit without any respite.
Yeah, it's definitely warm. It's I'd even go as far as to say it's fairly hot. 99 degrees will burn you if you if you touch the concrete with your hands. But for these tires, it's definitely not as bad as we saw earlier when it was 112 degrees for the Truck Series. As we now reach the half-hour mark, 30 minutes to go in this race. I believe another 70 or so is the estimate from our time and pace and lap counter.
almost glued nose to tail and have been for many laps. Up in front of them, car we keep seeing is Dustin Scruggs, who has not recovered from his slide. Maybe he overheated those tires. He's paying the price because he's dropped off the back of the 25 by a big margin. And the last few laps, let me see here, 25.3, 25.5 for Scruggs. Sink a 25.2, 25.2. Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah, they're definitely coming for him. And Scruggs has been, scrubbing, I guess you could say, some speed this entire run. And I think now the next 4 minutes are going to be very crucial for some drivers who have pushed as hard as they have in this race. I think the ones who have stayed put are going to start really catching up to the drivers in front. So you're going to start to see some big speed differences, especially when pit stops, I think, start happening in 3 to 4 minutes time.
I think Nick Byers the first one to take those pit stops, but I know he slapped the wall. We didn't show it, but the 15 maybe figuring he's got nothing else to lose because he was towards the back of the field and is going to try and see if an undercut will get him something. Unfortunately, he's now 2 laps down from the leader because of his early stop and poor track position in the first place. As we watch Lowendick, who I saw a little move from Teddy to try and overtake on Bradley Holly, interestingly. It didn't quite work, but again, Teddy not intimidated by the reputation of the 184.
Well, I guess at this point, you can't be intimidated by anyone. Ted Lowendick needs to win to make this championship 4. He does not care who's in front of him. And as a matter of fact, Holly, even though he is a legend of the PRL, has won a race. I mean, he's already in. So in reality, I think you might want to think about just you don't get by him from extremely clean ways. Don't be too afraid to just rub elbows, just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit.
I think the elbows might be rubbed soon between Regan and Acosta. Richard's gotten almost within a tenth of a second of Abner Acosta. He made that pass for second place quite some time ago, but you can see the 56 now has, I think, upped the ante a little bit. And after just kind of riding behind Abner, maybe he figures that's enough. Let's start to the attack because we're towards the end of the stint. I mean, if you don't need much of the tires anymore and you feel like you've got enough grip, why not use it?
Yeah, for sure. Needs that grip, and I think as you see that gray area on track, and through the corners, it's definitely a pretty tall amount of space, amount of room that allows for 2 distinct grooves to be run here at Dover Motor Speedway, maybe even 3, depending on how you straddle the line partially, but it all kind of funnels out and gets tight as you go on corner exit. I'll tell you what, Jeff Evans and Danny Cervantes doing a good job of sticking with this battle, and they've closed in, even though they're just a second and some change off. But big move, big run by Richard Regan, but he slid coming out of the corner, still just a 10.5 back.
Also, Scruggs and Emery are your latest to bite. Looks like Scruggs is already back out on the track. Emery's still rolling towards his pit stall and actually just stopped now. So more drivers that are going 2 laps down during these green flag pit stops.
Hey, pit stop.
Richard Regan Jr. pitting in.
Yeah, right on time, what I expected, and maybe even a minute earlier. So I guess Regan Jr. trying the undercut here. So the anti-Tebben.
Again, I'm surprised, but I guess pitting at the halfway is the way to go because John Jones is in, Daniel Knight is in. We know he's no slouch. Abner Acosta is responding to the driver that pitted in ahead of him. He does not want to let him have the undercut.
Well, I guess when the drop-off is almost 2 seconds per lap at this point, yeah, you're going to want to pit, and you're not going to want to lose any time to drivers just as fast as you are. So I think the undercut's definitely going to be the way to go here, but could be surprised with the overcut. You know who I think is going to go with the Tebben method, though?
Joey Tebben.
Joey Tebben. There's no way he's coming in.
Who would have thought?
There is no way he's coming in.
Interesting to note that for fans of John Jones, he unfortunately got a speeding penalty on the way in, so he has a black flag and is waiting for that to serve before he's allowed back out on the track. That's going to hurt mightily and send him to the back of the field. So Jeff Evans is your new leader on screen right now as more cars dive in, including Dominic Begin, also pitting in this time. But we're still waiting for a few major players to pit in. Oh, the 12 of Morgan just wrecked on his way in, just behind Teddy Lowendick, who we were watching on screen. But there is the 12 getting it turned around. That's going to be valuable time lost.
Yeah, turned around. Look at all that damage on the rear, and that was just a big mistake. Remember, we were talking about James Morgan having some speed. Unfortunately for him, and speed might not mean much. We get a replay here. He gets his left sides onto the apron and just loses it. Almost gets into the... Oh, yeah, he got into the barriers. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what gave him the most amount of damage.
That was a much later commitment than everybody else has been doing. Most have been trying to head in at turn 3 onto the apron. He tried to take the banking in turn 3 and then kind of pull it down. And, well, I'd say the results say it wasn't worth the time saved.
Yeah, not at all. It was not worth time saved because guess what? He did not save any time there.
Holly is in. So he goes a little bit longer than his rivals, which means that he will have lost some time during that first stint, but then he'll have slightly fresher tires than those around him. Richard Regan Jr. has jumped Abner Acosta in those pit stops. He is the highest driver to have pitted on the current strategy. So that worked out. In fact, I think they are nose to tail in the opposite order they were before they pitted.
Yeah, and that's pretty much making sense, I think, from what we saw. The undercut is definitely much more powerful here at Dover.
Cervantes just missed the pit entry. I think a similar situation to what happened to Morgan. Almost brought out the caution, actually. I'm amazed that we didn't get a yellow in it because the car was completely sideways on the banking and that he did not get the commitment cone in time. He has to go around for another lap.
That is potentially championship over then for him. Danny Cervantes needing a win here. I mean, that's even more pronounced. I'm shocked that there wasn't a caution there. He was on track and turned 90 degrees.
Yeah, this time he makes it in. He calls it safe because, I mean, what do you have to gain by trying to press it this time? And he heads down towards the stall, maybe feeling a little bit sheepish because of that one. So now Evans, Kalen, Lane, Tebben, and Cowgill are still committed to that Tebben move.
Yeah, still committed to it. The Tebben move as Evans comes in, and now you're going to hope, he's going to hope, they're all going to hope that there's a caution, just like there was kind of at the tail end of the pit cycle in the Truck Series race. But look at this. You got a hornet's nest of cars under a blanket. You could see some trouble and calamity come from it, but will we see that? That remains to be seen as all these cars trying to just speed around certain drivers. Dominic Begin in that 66. Look at this. This is pack racing at Dover.
It really is, and that means the likelihood for a yellow is a little bit stronger, and these drivers will have to stay heads up and aware. Regan Jr. still hasn't gotten his lap back from the leader. Mark Kalen still needs a couple more seconds to get up to him, is at the front of this group. And yeah, barely making it in. Who was that? That was Colton Lane, yeah, who snuck his way down into the pit lane just in time. As underneath them, the 20 is going to try and see if he can make some inroads there. As also, I see Adam Zemke having to try and make some moves as well.
Yeah, Zemke needs to win. Cervantes needs to win. Knight needs to win. Some of these drivers who are in must-win situations, they are not doing what it takes to finish the job here, as everyone except 3 drivers have come down pit road right now. Kalen, Tebben, Cowgill doing the Tebben method, the overcut, the extreme overcut. The driver in the best situation at this point, I mean, it was Cervantes, right? He was the fastest of the 4 that were in must-win situations to make it into the championship 4. Now it's looking like he's never going to get a shot to kind of come back, jump back from it. I mean, we're probably looking at Ted Lowendick being in the best spot right now, but you know he's probably going to inherit 6th in this race. But unless there's caution, I just don't see it happening.
Well, if you're going to sponsor a car, I feel like Joey Tebben might not be a bad choice, because he consistently leads at least a couple laps in this race like he's doing now. So we'll probably get people's attention and some screen time there. And there he is now, the 06, still out on the circuit, and only himself and Patrick Cowgill still need to pit in. Now, for those who are not familiar with the series, they cannot go to the end. They do not have enough fuel as they limit the fuel cells. So he will actually need to stop, especially with us going green from a start till now. Certainly does not have enough to get much farther than this as we come back to some of the battles for what is now fourth place. Acosta struggling. Excuse me. No, that is not for fourth place. That's Westerfield managing to go by. But Richard Regan Jr. ahead of him effectively should be first place once all the pit stops are done. He's trying to use that lap traffic as a buffer now.
So, for context, Joey Tebben came into the pits. He was running 12th, somewhere around there. If he came into the pits, if there was a caution now, he would be starting somewhere within the top 6. That's why he's staying out as long as he is staying out. But, I mean, he's definitely at risk of being passed by a bunch of drivers right now. Of course, we're watching the battle with Abner Acosta, Richard Regan Jr. It's going Acosta's way, but Mark Kalin is there as well, but it's not for position.
He did unlap himself last time out at Chicagoland by putting on fresh tires quite late. So we'll see if he can achieve that feat a second time around, or if it's going to be difficult for him to try and repeat that, as Acosta behind Kalin now sees 2 cars between himself and Richard Regan Jr. But Kalin's on fresher tires, had his troubles trying to make it down to the lane, and is trying to carefully not interrupt the leaders, knowing that if he takes one of them out, that is going to be really bad news for him.
Yeah, for sure. And no one wants to take out the leaders or anyone in behind, but obviously that can lead to some controversies and frustrations from some drivers that maybe get displayed later on in the season. Not much left of the season now.
Cowgill just said he's pitting in, so Tebben will be the last remaining one, and Cowgill already.
You know, Tebben just wanted to stay out the longest.
But what interests me is that Cowgill looked very slow on the backstretch. Almost, I'm not sure if he's out of fuel. I don't think so, but it was a bit odd. And did I just hear that Joey say he's pitting in this time?
I do not quite know.
Yep, he is. There he's slowing down. So he made it to lap 79, but was indeed the last one.
Well, Joey Tebben, he made it 79 laps. He could have gone another 10 or so laps. It is 100% fuel tanks in the PRL. In that case, though, he could have kept going. Not full commitment from Joey Tebben. Unfortunate.
He was 20 laps later than our current leaders, so that's going to be the difference between himself and the cars up front. So looking at the lap times for him, the early laps, 24.7s, 20 laps in. He still ran a 24.6, but I know he was in a pack of cars. So I wonder if he was just kind of managing himself in hopes that it would get him something. But this battle for the lead, I thought it was going to fall apart because of the lap traffic, but Abner Acosta is too dogged for that. He is held tight to the back of Richard Regan and made this a battle for the win.
Yeah, he's doing an unbelievable job right now. And Acosta and Regan Jr., I mean, it's the battle we see in multiple series throughout each week, and it just continues to rage on here in Grand National competition. They both are some of the best in class, and remember I've mentioned Nick Silver, potentially, one of those drivers that is a bit underlooked. He doesn't, usually get the wins, doesn't get them in that column, but he is still a heck of a driver, and he's second so above fourth place. He's got that podium on lock right now, and he has 4 seconds on falling, potentially, from this battle. So who knows? If he's in the catbird seat if these two come together.
And these two have both 2 wins apiece. The only driver with more than them, Tyler Justice, who sits third in the points, but he's not here tonight, so he's going to plummet down the order from that one. I think the main difference, honestly, was round 7 for Abner Acosta. Only scored 15 points, and he suffered because of that. And then he had some poor races at the start of the season. Round 2, only scored 25. Oof, and Cowgill, my goodness, looks like he's steering a cow the way things are going.
Yeah, fresh tires don't mean much if you're unable to get it under control. You're right, though. He's putting all his input he possibly can. Takes a quick look down to the left, but a very quick look because he's right back down on the hill that is Dover Motor Speedway. You know, if you walk to the top of the banking here at Dover, you're 2.5 stories up high.
Wow. Yeah, that really drives home how steep this banking is. It's always amazed me, this place. It feels kind of underrated. You have to remember, they're going 165 miles per hour at max, and the lowest speeds that they're seeing about around 139 in the corners. So that's what this banking does. Yes, they slow down, and yes, we've been seeing some passes because the cars do get so loose and mistakes get made, but it's got to be hard to try and overtake considering you cut down so little speed.
Oh yeah, it's very difficult. And Dover, not only do you not scrub off a lot of speed, it's narrow, right? The entry and the exits are very narrow. There's multiple grooves once you get in, but you have to enter in that specific spot to even have a shot. Whereas, you go to a cookie cutter 1.5 miles, and if you have to enter a little bit low, you'll still get a good run coming out of the corner of turn 2 or turn 4 into the front stretch. At Dover, you kind of have to exit at the same location. If you go side by side on exit, you're both going to really lose some speed. So it's definitely dangerous, and I don't think people always respect it as much as it could be respected here. Is this battle between Costa and Regan Jr., it's now being affected a little bit by James Morgan, who wants to stay on the lead lap.
Don't think he's going to be granted that wish, though. In fact, he knows it. He doesn't fight it. He lets them through as Acosta gets by, stays right glued to the number 56. Now, this is interesting because Regan was doing this to Acosta for the entire first stint, Dylan, and now Abner's kind of doing the same thing back to him. Does he have something for him, I wonder, or is this the limit? Is he actually still fighting hard to just hold this close?
Yeah, I think he is. I think they're both riding around a little bit. I think they're both sandbagging it a little bit because they both know what each other are capable of. If you try to stretch out this lead right now, then that means that the guy that's staying within 1/10.5 of you is doing the same exact thing and burning off the tires at that same exact rate. They've got a 4-second buffer in behind. These two, they're running at 85% right now. They'll shift into overdrive soon.
But the buffer is to Silver, actually. I was just looking at that myself, and I'm a bit surprised. Nick Silver, currently in P3, still being chased by Holly, but he's about 2 seconds back, so he's pretty comfortable at this stage. So I'm trying to remember who was in third place before all this that they had left behind. Was it Jeff Evans, I think? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, Jeff Evans was running a decent race here, but it was really Danny Cervantes that was running up high for the majority of the opening run before his pit stop snafu, if you will, and he was running in 4th, so that's high as 3rd, and he's obviously had a mistake on pit road that cost him time, and he's done a good recovery drive up to 8th, but it's not enough. Lowendick, Cervantes, Knight, they're running right next to each other, all three of them. They all need to get that win. It's just not going to come.
Well, I figured out what happened. Evans pitted what looks like 8 laps later than Silver and, Silver. Holly was a little kind of in between them. He pit 30 laps ago. So Jeff Evans lost that time, it looks like, trying to hold out for the overcut, and it didn't work. Now he's got to try and make up that time with only 8 laps difference between them as we continue to watch the sun glint off of the 5 and the 56, now hitting the 10 minutes to go mark with about 25 seconds per lap. We're looking at I guess that's almost 25 minutes to go, right? Something like, or not 25 minutes to go, 25 laps to go.
It's left. I think that means 25 minutes left. Yeah, I usually add 16 to every.
Yes, thank you. My math is that bad today, apparently.
Well, I mean, I understand it. Sometimes you want to go by 16 by 9 ratio. Like TVs.
Yes. No, I meant 25 laps to go.
Oh, you did
for them. Yes.
I had no idea.
Still watching them, just glued to one another. I also spotted Joey Tebben. In fact, we're going to see him here soon in the background. There he is, popping up. The 06 is indeed going to get his lap back, it looks like, because he's obviously charging forward on those fresh tires, but he doesn't have enough laps to catch the leaders back around a full lap. I think it's more of a question, can he at least crack into the top 10?
That is a good question here. If it stays green, I think he could potentially get into the 9th. I don't think anything more than that. The other question is that fall off for his tires. How big of a fall off is it going to be? Oh, look at that. Getting a little bit loose. I don't know what sound I just made, but I know that Kalen and Daniel Knight definitely made the same exact noise in their cockpits.
Yeah, and it's going to be Knight who comes out ahead of that pair right now in 9th place. This is a battle for just inside the top 10. Colton Lane is also hot on their heels. So three-way battle, and they're catching up to Nick Hunter in the 109. He looks like a lap down on them, so he's not in the fight for position, but he could play the spoiler depending on who you are. Could this allow Mark Kalin to get a pick, or will he get held up as they try to lap this guy?
I wonder if this could be a problem area. I mean, we're getting to the point of no return, or this could be a problem area of, if caution came out at this point, we're still going to have a few laps to go of green flag racing, but in 4 minutes time, that's not going to be the case. Joey, just be careful here, bud.
Yep, and Joey. He knows it. He's
Joey.
Give him room.
You didn't get much room. You didn't get. Oh, Joey.
Well, what complicated it was that 57. That was the lapped car of Zemke. So they had a lapped car trying to unlap himself, and a car that they're trying to lap at the same time as he goes down to the bottom and manages to find the room. And guess who's going to try and pick his pocket? Here comes Abner Acosta. He sees an opening, but he can't get the speed. The car gets loose, and he gets out of it.
Oh, boy, yeah. I mean, hey, Joey Tebben just gave us some excitement right there. I think he's going to start to pull away. Well, I thought so, but he is still just in front of the 56. He should be able to pull away here. Definitely gave an opportunity to Abner Acosta, just wasn't able to take advantage of it.
There's that multi-class road racing experience from Abner, I think. Oh, and it's not over. I think the 06 got a little loose. He knows that it's not worth trying to make a fight out of this. He drops back behind them.
I mean, it is weird in one way, right? You feel like, if you get yourself back onto the lead lap, then you're free to kind of fight and chase after Knight, Kalin, and Lane. But at the same time, you don't want to be the reason that a battle between first and second, which could potentially be the championship, goes south for one driver. You just don't want to be responsible for that.
Exactly. And now they got Reese Bogue in the 4, who pitted 15 laps ago. So he must have had I think he had an extra stop in there. That's interesting. He's multiple laps down. So he's going to be on very fast tires right now. Not fighting anybody for position, so he's going to have to pick his timing carefully. Let's not forget that the 06 and the 57 are actually fighting for position, but it doesn't look like Zemke really has the pace that Joey does, so hopefully that should keep it a little bit calm, because the last thing the leaders need is not only a car trying to unlap himself, but 2 cars trying to fight for position as they unlap themselves.
Well, I would like that. It looks like we're going to get that. 2 cars trying to unlap themselves in behind and do have faster pace because of their fresher tires.
That's Bogue, so that's not for position, though.
No, that's
fair. And the 4.
That's also true. And look up ahead as well. This is going to be a lapped car sandwich for the 56 and the 5.
That's Nick McLaughlin. That's another one that is not going to be fighting for position with any of these cars. He's currently 2 laps down from the leaders. So
Yikes.
Ooh. And the 4 is thinking about it. Reese really wants to try and charge forward. I don't think it's going to do him any good. Again, 4 laps away from any other car right now. So Reese kind of has no reason to try and overtake them. He could just kind of sit patiently behind them, and it won't change his race result.
Yeah, but now Abner is having to think about defending and making sure that he's got the best line through the corners. It's definitely lost him a second or a tenth and a half right there to Richard Regan Jr., who, of course, is in the lead courtesy of his undercut earlier on. And now it's go time. You're not holding back anything in this car. You've got to go for it, as it looks like Bogue is going to get down to the inside, not underneath yet, but just threatening with that position. And of course, McLaughlin right in front of Regan Jr. 4 minutes exactly to go. Should be just around 10 laps.
The complications continue to arise for them, not in the way I think they expected. Amazingly, without a single yellow, we have lost 2 cars, John Jones and Thomas Sink. I'm not sure of the reasoning for them. And now I'm starting to hear Abner Acosta get on the radio. I thought he said, take it. I think he's trying to wave Reese through.
Well, Reese isn't taking it at all. So, he has just affected the battle pretty staunchly as Lowendick and Cervantes. You see the move, some move being made right in on that scoreboard. But yeah, I mean, Bogue is 7 laps down, and he's the last car still active on this track, and he just majorly impacted this battle for the race win.
I'm not entirely sold that. I'm not entirely sold that he completely impacted it, because I feel like
he totally did. He totally did. He was trying to go down the inside. He's still looking down the inside, and it went from a tenth and a half to 4 tenths at one point, and definitely impacted this race.
I'm starting to wonder if actually Abner is struggling a little bit with the tires. That's kind of why I'm saying that maybe we shouldn't blame the 4. Yes, he's trying to get underneath them, but I feel like if Abner still has stuff left, then surely he should be able to chase Richard back down.
Well, yeah, but when you got a guy down your inside that's taking away your maximum line, or at least looking to the inside, that got a little bit up high. And look, he's looking down the inside like he's definitely...
No, he lifted. He lifted for sure that time. I went and watched. Okay, so the 4 is not trying to do anything. And I think Abner knows that, because he took to the line pretty confidently there. He's not... And that's the other reason that I kind of think this is because I haven't seen Abner actually drift up in quite some time. So I don't think that 4 really is affecting it. He's just sitting and waiting.
No, he's affecting it. He's looking down the inside. I just don't understand... you're 7 laps down, just your presence being that close. It's definitely affecting Abner Acosta right there.
There's a minute and a half to go, so it's going to be over pretty soon. Richard Regan still 2 tenths ahead of him. They got one more lapped car, and Nick Hunter there in front of him. 56, been leading since the pit stops, but he was sitting in second very patiently for the majority of the first stint. Oh, up into the wall goes the 109. No. Everybody avoids any sort of wreck happening, and so does the 109 of Hunter, who eventually finds his way back to the racing line, but a scary moment for all involved.
Yeah, once again, everyone getting involved, and a lapped car playing a part at Dover. There's not much room, like I said, on corner exit to go too wide, so even when a car is way up high, that's also the position you want to take. Just 50 seconds left in this one. I believe it's 3 laps to go. So it's now or never for Abner Acosta trying to make a move on Richard Regan Jr.
It's going to be very tight on if it's 3 or 2 laps, actually, because 25 seconds a lap. And again, still seeing that number 4 poke his nose here and there, but still not make the pass, and allowing Acosta to get down to the bottom line. That time he smacked the wall. And is this 1 to go, or is this 2 to go?
I think it's going to be a 1 to go this time by. I think the white flag will come out with just a few seconds remaining in the session, which would then lock it in for 1 to go.
There it is. 8 seconds left. They're through 3 into 4. Richard Regan comes to the line. And 1 second to go. White flag, 1 more lap. And they are going to get one last chance for Acosta to try and catch up and make something happen, but he still can't get near to the 56. The 4 might actually have decided he wants to try and move. Nope, he is going to once again back out. It's a moot point. Richard Regan Jr. controlled the second half of this race, and that will net him his 3rd win of the season.
Well, you know, I isn't it Regan Bogue Motorsports?
I see what you're saying there. I'm sorry. I'm at complete odds with you. I don't think the 4 affected it. I'm pretty certain.
I appreciate us being at odds, but I think Abner Acosta agree with me.
I'll ask him, or one of us will ask him once we get to talk to him. In the meantime, Richard Regan's going to try and celebrate here as he extends his points lead going into the final round by a few more points, making him all the safer and making life easier for himself for a potential championship. Gets ready to burn it down as he sets up the car to go here, or is he? He's parked it, and we're waiting to see. There it goes. Now he kicks it into gear and does some donuts down at the stripe in the number 56. So getting some rubber put onto the track as he didn't he do this at Martinsville? He went backwards in a burnout.
You see that? Okay, well, he did do backwards in a burnout, and it went the entire way around the track.
Richard Regan Jr., your winner here today, with Abner Acosta finishing 2nd and Nick Silver getting himself an excellent 3rd place. Bradley Hawley could only collect 4th today as Jeff Evans did climb his way back to 5th. I'm guessing he's ruining that late pit stop call. Dustin Scruggs was 6th after starting on the front row. Teddy Lowendick was 7th, and Danny Cervantes was P8. Daniel Knight went from 22nd, not being allowed to qualify, up to 9th position as Mark Kalin wound up in 10th. Dylan.
Yeah, we continue moving down this order. Colton Lane in P11 with Joey Tebben, the first one a lap down, got right back to 12th, which is exactly where he was running when he came into when the pit cycle started. Zemke, Beijing, James Morgan, Patrick Cowgill, Jacob Emery, Westerfield, and Doug Evans all 1 lap down. Nick Hunter finishes 2 laps down with Nick Bayer on that same 2 lap down kind of run. Nick McLaughlin 3 down, Reese Bogue 7, while Thomas Sink and John Jones finish way back in the order in 24th and 25th. And look who got the fastest lap. Joey Tebben with a 23.533 on lap 81.
Go figure. And looks like, we only have our 3rd place driver right now, Nick Silver, so we won't get our answer quite yet. Maybe not. Excuse me. Looks like Richard Regan, our winner, showed up. So let's switch gears and talk to Richard, who takes the win from 7th on the grid today. Richard, congratulations on the victory. You spent the first half what looked like sitting patiently behind Abner, and then you undercut him, took the lead away, and the roles were reversed. Were you worried that he was going to be able to get back by you?
I mean, the dirty air is such a big deal here at this track, especially with this car, and I was hoping that when we came down pit road there that we wouldn't be in too much traffic so I could get that clean air advantage, but we were just in traffic the entire time, so trying to hold him off with 1 lap fresher tires than me, and we both have dirty air, was pretty tough. And I feel like I didn't drive my best tonight. I in practice and to be fixed during the week, I was able to save my tires and have really good long run pace, but I don't know if me messing up my qualifying lap just spiraled me out of control mentally, and then I just couldn't. I don't know, my long run pace was not there tonight.
Well, it was there enough that you took the win in the end. Were you surprised? I mean, talking about that long run pace, that we went green from beginning to the end, because Dover tends to cause some pileups.
Not really. I know when we came here earlier this year, it was a green to checkers, and we've had some green to checkers races here before. Usually we only get a caution if someone messes up on pit road, and if that happens during green flag stops, then it's just a never-ending effect of cautions for the rest of the race. But yeah, usually we do pretty good about staying green here.
Clearly, you guys did after that one. Finally, the tinfoil hats are coming out. It's called Regan Bogue Racing, and your teammate was on the back of Acosta. My booth mate seems to think that there was some shenanigans going on. I disagree. What's the official word?
I mean, he was just riding behind him because he didn't want to get involved with the battle. So if there were some shenanigans going on, then he would have passed him and just rode behind me and parked the bus in front of him. So I don't think someone riding on someone's bumper is really that bad.
I didn't think so either. I felt like he was being a good boy back there. But congratulations on the win, and hope to see you at the final round in 2 weeks.
Yep. Let me give a shout out to Multiple Sclerosis Society, Susan G. Komen, Jay-Z Photography, Mission 22, Neons and Paints, everybody at Regan Bogue Motorsports, everybody at PRL, and you guys at RaceSpot.
That was your winner, Richard Regan Jr. And up next, we'll get the opposite side of the coin. It looks like Dylan is going to catch up with Abner Acosta to see if he agrees with Richard's assessment.
All right, I'm just going to go dive right into it with Abner Acosta. Abner, what did you think of maybe some tactics from Richard Regan Jr.'s teammate, Reese Bogue, in behind you at the end there?
Yeah, it kind of sucks because I honestly didn't realize it was Reese Bogue until the end. For some reason, I thought it was Joey Tevin, and I was gonna like let him by, and then I saw that he didn't take it, and I'm like, okay. And then when there was like 3 laps to go, I kind of look at my relative. I'm like, oh crap, that's Reese Bogue. That's Richard's teammate. So if I would have known that, I don't think he was gonna send it. I think he was just kind of just trying to scare me. But I realized it too late. But I don't know. It would have been tough to pass Richard anyway. It would have been a little closer, but it would have been really hard to pass. So I think Richard in the first stint was definitely a lot faster. I think I was having problem saving that right front. I got the message both times. So regardless, it was a good race. It was fun that we were able to go green flag all the way. It doesn't happen that often.
Well, even if it looks like your season 4 championship hopes aren't necessarily there, it all gets kind of reset in 2 weeks' time at Auto Club for the playoff championship 4 finale. And of course, you and Richard are both in it. If you take the championship 4 crown here, if you win the playoffs with the full season year, does that kind of ease the sting of not winning in season 4, or does that even better? Is that even better than winning in season 4?
I think it's for everybody in all the leagues. I think it's better to win the playoff. I mean, it's something you race for basically all year and adds up at the end. So, this winning the season's cool as well. But I think, the playoff is definitely a little higher up.
All right, Abner. And Auto Club, what are your thoughts on there? You feel like you're going to have a good shot?
I like the track. I like the track. I just don't know. I still don't know about this car. I don't think I can save as much as I usually do. Still trying to figure it out, but I like Auto Club. I think I'll be strong, and I don't know who else is in the playoffs. Brad is there too. He, anything can happen with the playoff format. Late yellows, people getting tired, so it's definitely gonna be fun.
All right, Abner. Well, hey, congratulations on making it into the championship 4. Gonna be a fun time to see what happens, but enjoy your little off week with the holidays. You won't have an off week though in PRL Cup Series competition. You still gotta do that. Yeah.
I'll be here next week, and then I guess 2 weeks after that, I'll see if I remember how to drive this car to that playoff race.
All right, Abner Acosta, P2 in the race, P1 in our hearts. Congratulations on the podium finish.
That takes us to Nick Silver, who was 3rd this time out. Pulled a little bit of a strategy call of his own. Nick, congratulations on a top 3. You managed to undercut a few people, it looks like. Were you surprised by that? Because it took us a bit to look back and realize behind those 2 leaders that ran away, you had suddenly jumped up.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really trying to undercut anybody. I just was like, all right, we're gonna, at the earliest, we're probably gonna pit halfway. Just split this race in half and maybe go a little bit longer. But then Spotter called out that the right front was wearing out, and a couple guys started to pit. So I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna pit here. I think I still pitted right around 25 minutes to go or so. But yeah, somehow we undercut him, and I thought for sure Bradley was going to track me down, but I don't know if I caught some breaks with him catching lap traffic or what. But once he got within like 2 seconds of me, he wasn't able to really gain much, and came away with third, surprisingly.
Yeah, and honestly, before that, before the pit stops, you, Bradley, Teddy, all kind of in what looked like a pretty heated battle. You guys kept getting close to one another, but we heard from the other two that the dirty air was pretty bad. Was it difficult to make that last move and get by?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was so much dirty air as much as it's kind of like a one-lane track. The really the only place to make the pass is if you get below the guy, and I just couldn't quite get a run on the 48 to get below him. I think I did once, and I was barely there. And so I kind of had to dive it in there, and I kind of touched the apron. I didn't really want to wash up into him, so I had to back out of that. And then I think it was, right after that move, my right front just couldn't really take it anymore, and I wasn't able to, really get a good run on him. So that's why I kind of wanted to get onto the pits, before him. I'm kind of waiting to that 25 minutes, and I'm like, I definitely don't want the 48 to pit before me, and luckily we were able to get on pit road before him.
Well, you beat Jeff Evans out on track today. Tyler Justice was not around to try and fend for his position, which means it's looking good for you going into the finale for maybe being able to get a top 3 in points as well. Is that something you'd want to eye up, or do you not really care if it's not the overall championship?
I mean, it would be cool to get top 3 in points, for this quarter. But honestly, like, I keep forgetting about the points. I'm not really used to this quarterly system that they have here. There's the playoff guys. So in my brain, I'm still kind of like, oh, I'm not really racing for points. But, I looked at him the other day and, got a shot for a good points finish. So just going to go into Auto Club, I think it is, and just kind of try to do what I've been doing. Just keep it clean, save the tires, and see what happens there at the end.
That's sometimes the best that you can do. But, I mean, congratulations on the top 3. It was a well-run race today.
Thank you very much.
Nick Silver in third here at Dover. And he is correct that it is going to be at Auto Club. We'll talk about that in a second as we wrap up. First of all, I want to give a big thank you to our team. Of course, Dylan and Hugo behind the scenes. But next race for the trucks is going to be Atlanta, and then for the Grand Nationals we go to Auto Club Speedway here in California. And again, that is 2 weeks from now, because over in the United States we're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving next week, so we'll need a little bit of a break for ourselves. However, until next time, I'm Joe Peak. Race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.